Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Tonight's topic: men must come together to fight this gynocracy. Men must come together to fight this gynocracy. Now, what do I mean by gynocracy? Well, the gynocracy is basically a climate that is made for women. Now, when you look at the landscape, women have become a voting bloc, a large voting bloc, especially for the Democratic Party. And when you have women voting Democratic, women as a gender are petulant children. Their mindset is of entitlement. Now, this is not all women, but it is a number of women. A number of them are gold diggers. Now, this is not hating women. This is true. But women are of the Marxist and socialist mindset. If you look at all the policies regarding big government, that's what women vote for. And if you look at what's been happening over the past 50 years, everything has been going toward women. Now, have women played a part in helping society? Yes. But the problem is the pendulum has swung way too far where men aren't being respected for doing what they do. They go out to work every day. Men have built this country. Men continue to be the advancers of new technology. Men are still protecting women. And if you look at the landscape, men have stayed the same. It's women who have run amok. Why? Because women believe in a system. The system allows them to be irresponsible. This is why today's woman is really not dateable. And a number of them aren't even good to have sex with because they don't care about themselves. They fought for all this equality, but it really isn't equality. What a number of women want is to be the supreme gender. If you don't believe me, look at how many men have become depressed from relationships. Look at the divorce laws. I mean, women are working and we still have these outrageous divorce laws. There have been many videos that I've seen that involve women who are being unfit mothers, but the court system still believe that women make the best mothers. The bottom line is we live in a gynocracy. If you look at all of your television shows, men look like the bumbling idiot and a woman looks like she's the smart one. Now, what happened today in the Bill Cosby trial has happened to other men with this Me Too movement. But it's funny how the congressman, I believe her name was Christina Garcia from California, two men have come out and said she groped them, but she doesn't remember groping them. And this happened a couple of years ago. But what has happened to her? Nothing. You have a number of these teachers who are women having sex with young boys. What has happened to them? Nothing. If women want equality in this country, then they must take the bad with the good. A number of women have this attitude of entitlement. Notice what I said, a number of women. Now, when it comes to these powerful men like Bill Cosby, now did he do it? I don't know, I wasn't there. But if he did do something, he should have his day in court. But have his day in court based off of a fair due process. I want to ask some of you women something. If you're going through the notions of men talking dirty to you, groping you, telling you they want to have sex with you, and you're in the entertainment industry, and you give them sex while they give you money to play a certain part, are you part of the problem? Because what I'm looking at is you took the money. Certainly no man has any right to put his hands on you, no matter what. Because we as men, we're more powerful and we're stronger than women. But is it right for a woman to say she got raped and then she comes back and says she lied? This is what's happening in our country, and I can't blame women for this. I have to blame 85% of the men in power who are running this country. Now, I believe a number of these men who are running this country are afraid of their wives. Why? Because if their wives leave them, the system that they created, these powerful men, is going to come back to haunt them. But with this Bill Cosby case, what does it mean for men? What it means is you're looking at a man who had power, fame, and money. Same thing with Ray Rice. And you've had a number of other men who have been charged with sexual misconduct based on allegations. And allegations are just what they are. Allegations. There is no due process that has been involved. But if a woman commits the same crime, nothing happens to her. Look at all these teachers again who have had sex with their students, and they've gone on to be able to do what they want to do. Brother Tommy Sotomayor has put videos up of mothers mistreating their children, molesting their children. And what happens? Absolutely nothing. You see, what a number of these women want is to use the system to extort money. Now, do we know if Bill Cosby had sex with all these women? No, we don't know. But as a man, we got to learn how to stick together, because we must be even more careful when it comes to dating and marriage. This Me Too movement picked up a lot of steam, but men need to come together regardless of race to fight this westernized culture, because no matter how far we've advanced with technology, when it comes to being civilized people, men have been getting the short end of the stick for the last 50 years, and it's going to get worse. Now, when it comes to YouTube, look what's happening. You've had some black females flag brothers' channels because they can't refute what the brothers are saying. So what do? They go run to the system. That's a cowardly act. And again, like I said, a number of women are petulant children. When the truth is told about them, they don't want to face it. So what do? They'll go back and forth. They'll change the subject. They'll get somebody else to do the work for them. They get emotional and they become victims. Bottom line, women, because they're women, get all the benefits. Women put less money into this governmental system than men do. But guess what? Women receive more of the benefits. Now, of course, there are some women who receive money because they actually need it, but a number of them don't. They got with bum guys, regardless of race, and they were just as irresponsible with sex as men were. Now, you have 5 institutions that allow women to run amok in this country. First, it starts with the government, the education system, private sector jobs, and private sector companies, religion, and media. You look at the amount of women who utilize social media every day. But the big issue I have is the men. Men aren't checking the people who are running the system. And when I'm telling a number of you men here in 2018, you better start voting with your feet. You better start joining men's rights groups, and you better be serious about fighting, because it's only going to get worse. Because the people who we are fighting as men really aren't the women. We're fighting other men. Now, of course, the women have representation from this sleazy lawyer, and I never liked her, named Gloria Allred. She's a political hack. She hates men. So what does she do? When there's a big case, she's always there. I remember when Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson confronted her right outside her office. Where was she? She was nowhere to be found. You see, when the heat is turned up on a number of women, they become cowards. And this is when they run to the system. Now, again, this is not a video bashing women. This is a video simply stating the behaviors that women have utilized to get their way. And not only have they gotten their way, they've gotten away with basically everything that we couldn't get away with as men. And a big item is statutory rape. What happened to Bill Cosby has happened to other men, and it's going to continue to happen. So I'm urging men, you need to be careful when it comes to dating women. Don't make cat calls in the streets. And a place where your average everyday man must be careful is in the workplace, especially when you're working for the government. And let me talk about civil service jobs, because I work a civil service job. I work for the Indiana Department of Transportation in LaPorte, Indiana. And even at my own workplace, most of your directors are white women. In fact, in the office, the men in there don't look masculine at all. They look like metrosexuals. But that's what corporate America wants. They want the metrosexual male, and they want the female to be in charge. They want the male to basically kiss the woman's behind. And a number of males are doing it, because if you go into the workforce, it's a joke. I've seen women carry on at work. I've heard some of their conversations. In fact, when we look at human resources is made up of women, particularly for civil service jobs. And as much as civil service jobs talk about equality and diversity, there really is no diversity. Most of your civil service jobs, if you don't believe me, have a lot of women working for them. And I can tell you in a lot of areas. Let's look at education. If you go to your nearest college, who's answering the phone? It's a female. Who's working back there as an academic advisor? It's a female. Who are your instructors? You have a number of females, except when it comes to the math and science department. But in all of your other areas of college, you have your females working as employees. Why? Because women, a number of them, get the security by the system, by the taxpayers. Now, again, I'm not blaming every woman, because there are a number of women who are against this nonsense themselves, because the ones who are against all of this nonsense, they know what's coming down the pipe. See, the ones who think they've won the day because Bill Cosby turned up guilty, they're going to have a rude awakening. And one thing I know about the male species, when they've had enough, they're going to explode. You think women can get upset? Men are a lot worse. We just know how to contain our emotions. Well, us who aren't emotionally driven. Because you have a number of men who can get emotionally upset without thinking. But moving back to this Bill Cosby trial. Steve Harvey, you better be careful, because you will be next. And then the other men. Be careful. Now, here's my belief system. Coming forward, men aren't going to want to hire women. So women are going to cut their own throats. Why? Because a number of men don't want to take the chance of getting their careers, their hard work diminished because of allegations of sexual misconduct. As men, white, black, brown, we don't have to agree on everything, but it's time for us to come together and become part of the voting block again. See, the reason why women get what they want, women don't like each other. They can't get along with each other. But when it comes to something common, like abuse, women are going to vote with their feet. And when I tell you about voting with their feet, women become a well-oiled machine. They have the finances, they have the organization, and they have the issue on the table. Men, for some reason, will not organize. Men in their right minds believe that they're supposed to sit back and take it. No, you're not. As a man, you're supposed to solve problems. You can't build as a man when you have a number of women who are too lazy to be adults, to make their own money when they're crying independent, because they're coming after your money and you're allowing it as men, and it's happening in every place. You look at the NFL. Every fall, I see big men wearing pink for breast cancer. But you don't see women of the WNBA wearing purple for prostate cancer. Again, you look at all the holidays. Valentine's Day, Christmas, it's all about her. Look at the divorce cases. Now, you may have had some divorce cases, and please, ladies, the exception is not the rule, because that is always your argument. You have to look at the majority. And you know yourself, as ladies, you benefit from the system. In fact, when it comes to affirmative action, this is going to surprise you if you don't already know it. White women benefit from affirmative action the most. White women tend to be the most entitled out there. In fact, the feminist movement is made up of a number of white women. Now, white women have been oppressed, but what white women did, they talked black women into joining their movement as well, although as black men, we didn't have the power to oppress black women, and black women know it. But black women have also benefited off of a movement that really wasn't for them. Now, I'm not saying all black women hate us, but there are a number of them who do. You look at YouTube. As a black man, we have to work harder to produce content because we can't go on looks. And here's another thing I want to tell you about that when it comes to this social media and YouTube. Men, fellow YouTubers, got to start supporting each other. I don't know how many times it's been said, but many of us will go and support females' channels instead of our own brothers, regardless of the content. Again, it is very difficult to constantly make YouTube videos for the public, but when it comes to men don't want to support other men, especially in the black community, because we are jealous, we're emotional, and we get violent toward each other. I've seen some of the beefs here on YouTube. A number of men will go over there and support women's channels, and they're not listening to what the women say because they don't care what she's saying. They're supporting her channel because she looks good. You look at Kim Kardashian. What has she really done? She's utilized her body. Look at Lindsay Lohan. Look at Paris Hilton. They've done nothing. But they've become millionaires based off of their sexuality. Look at Britney Spears. Now, I'm not saying women don't have talent, so please miss me with that nonsense. But what I'm saying, when it comes to men in this country, we just don't stick together. And I don't understand why in hell we think it's nonsense to organize. We go out and we bust our hump for people who don't give a damn about us. And that's a number of today's women. Now, I know some women might come to my channel, thumb the video down. That's tough. The truth must be stated. Because a number of you women out here, and you know you've been living off the fat of the lamb, and this is not a hate woman video, it's true. Now, again, I'm not putting all the blame on the women. I'm putting a lot of the blame on the men because the men are the ones who are in power. But a number of you women have influenced the men to make those decisions. Because what I look at in all these trials and allegations against some of these powerful men is redistribution of wealth / extortion. Women, you're not entitled to anything. And this is what happened with the Tyler Perry movie. Taraji Henson, again, played Robert's wife. She divorced Robert before Robert got the money, but she still felt that she was entitled to his money. She didn't earn that money. Yes, she was there when Robert and her were struggling to make ends meet, but she was influenced by other women to sign on the dotted line along with Robert for the divorce. And that's what's going on in this country. Women of today feel like they're entitled to be president. They're entitled to be leaders without putting any work into it. And it seems to me that men have just given up. Men, you got to get some balls here. Masculinity is losing to gynocentrism, and it's because you men out there have no spine. We as men create everything to make women feel comfortable, and ourselves, we also feel comfortable, and we make money based off of our inventions. But what we don't do as men, when it comes to women, we are afraid to confront women about their behavior. And see, men, what we have to learn how to do is not think with our penises all the time. If we use what God gave us, our brain, it will help us solve the problems that we have with women. Because a number of these women aren't worth marrying or dating or having sex or procreating with. But too many of us as men are too blinded to see that. Now, there are a number of us doing videos on Bill Cosby. I'm not going to do a total video on Bill Cosby. I'm just throwing clips in because Bill Cosby isn't the only man who has been convicted of sexual misconduct. There's domestic violence. Do you know women commit a lot of domestic violence out there as well? It's not reported because the cops are never going to believe the man. And the funny thing about feminism, when it comes to women, women are strong when they're bid and finning, but when they have to give up something, then they become victims. That's the hypocrisy. Now, once men start to break it down and really examine women for their childish and entitlement and their princes and their narcissistic behaviors, only then will men see that their masculinity is in danger. Right now, I just don't believe men see it, or they don't want to see it. But if you're a man who believes in your manhood, you got to start waking people up. Because too many of us men are asleep at the wheel. And from what I can tell, the situation is going to get worse. Because what I'm saying is going to resonate with some. But at the end of the day, a number of men will still be asleep at the wheel, regardless of what's going on around them. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Thursday, April 26, 2018. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversial issues, or emotional issues, and that's based on how you as the audience member take the information that I am presenting. Also, I don't participate in drama and or unnecessary bickering because it's counterproductive. My channel is a self-awareness educational channel. What I am giving you is information that I've researched, and I'm also utilizing my own personal experiences. But again, I keep everything 100% truthful because I strive for the truth. The information is positive, and I want men to understand that masculinity is under attack. So when you have knowledge, you have power. And if you have a topic, a new YouTube channel or business that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comment is pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering. If you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed night. God bless you, and good night.